Sometimes the first page of a book makes you wish you could just skip all the way to the last one. And so we try to avoid those books simply by, well, judging the book by its first page. So here it is, the first page. This is, I'm going in blind on this one, Kurt Vonnegut, Dead-Eye Dick, a novel. Best-selling author of Hocus Pocus, among others, including Slaughterhouse-Five and some others, which we will have to also first page test. But this is Dead-Eye Dick, Chapter 1. To the as yet unborn, to all innocent wisps of undifferentiated nothingness, watch out for life. I have caught life. I have come down with life. I was a wisp of undifferentiated nothingness, and then a little peephole opened quite suddenly. Light and sound poured in. Voices began to describe me and my surroundings. Nothing they said could be appealed. They said I was a boy named Rudolph Waltz. And that was that. They said the year was 1932, and that was that. They said I was in Midland City, Ohio, and that was that. They never shut up. Year after year, they piled detail upon detail. They do it still. You know what they say now? They say the year is 1982, and that I am 50 years old. Blah, blah, blah. Very, very strong voice here with Kurt Vonnegut. Vonnegut has this distinct style, which you can see throughout his works, and it's lovely. I like it. And he begins in a way that's very relatable. Obviously, and he's sort of reframed the idea of one's birth and how, basically you really don't decide on anything in your life, especially to begin with. Everything's just sort of heaped onto you, all the baggage of the former generations and history and all this stuff and who you are. Everybody's always trying to tell you who and what you are. And so we get a little bit of that on the first page. And it is just fun enough to make me want to turn it to page 2 of the story. And actually, I did turn to page 2 and I had a look, and it seems that that part that I read, we get a blah, 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 and then it's actually a break in the story. And then we begin anew with a different tangent, I suppose. So, Dead-Eye Dick. I definitely wanted to check this one out. And actually, part of it was because the cover. I have to admit the cover definitely drew me in. I'm not saying the cover doesn't play a role, but ultimately you could have a great cover, but if the first page isn't quite right, that I think is the most important selling point, at least for me. And I think everybody, if you want to make sure you're in for a good ride, you can learn a lot about if you like a book, believe it or not, from the first page, I think. Perhaps there are some books that have strong first pages and the rest of them are weak and flabby. Some books have terrible opening pages and the rest of the story is incredible. If you know any of those books, then please let me know in the comments. Please tell me about them. I would be interested, and I will check them out, actually, even if they're not good. Just as, scientific research, basically. This is science. You thought this was all about books. Yeah, let me know what you thought, and whether or not you've read or would like to read Dead-Eye Dick.